But this is what I wrote. I was like, what in God's tarnation is this? Corporanacoli. Leigh Bardugo, sweetie, why are you wasting so much time? Like, I don't know. It's like probably the worst book that I read this year, to be completely honest. Like, it was just not good. Hello friends, my name is Troy and welcome back to my channel. You know what I see a lot of on BookTube? It's all Six of Crows, it's my favorite series, Six of Crows, I love it so much. I finally read Six of Crows and I have a lot of opinions, so I decided to make a review video for this book. Considering that it's one of the most popular books by far on BookTube, not maybe recently, but definitely when it was in its peak, I just know everyone loved this book, it was so hyped, and I'm coming here to oppose that. I think this book is so overhyped. I have a lot of points of why I think a lot of books deserve more credit or more hype, because Leigh Bardugo as an author is just not really hitting it for me, so I'm gonna go through all my points. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, subscribe, but yeah, let's get into this book talk because I've got so much to discuss and we've got a lot to talk about. But for those of you who don't know, Six of Crows is a series set in the same world as the Shadow and Bone series by Leigh Bardugo, called like the Grisha world, I like to call it. In this world, we have some people born as Grisha. They have some sort of magical power. They're either like a fabricator, they can kind of manipulate metals, or they're squalors, or some sort of like corporanacoli, and they can like summon like fire or water. And then there's also heart renders and like people that can like heal and manipulate your appearance. Like there's just kind of like subtle magic kind of abilities, but they call it the small science, and it's just kind of manipulating what's around you. And there's this whole kind of magic system in this world. And there's also this very elaborate world because there is the world of Ravka, where Grisha are like kind of welcomed and accepted, but then there's the Fëardens and there's the Shu who don't really like the Grisha, and so they're kind of like always opposing them. There's the Druskelli in Fëarda who try to hunt down Grisha, and Six of Crows is not really heavily focused on the Grisha itself, but there's basically this illegal kind of substance that was created that is like this drug for Grisha, and it makes their powers so much more. It was tested on one Grisha, and like she just totally went out of control. She killed a lot of people with the substance, and then she gets addicted to it. And so basically it's just kind of an example of how this, you know, this powder, this drug is affecting the Grisha. And basically we're set with 6 characters, the Six of Crows, and on the back I like this description: a convict with a thirst for revenge, a sharpshooter who can't walk away from a wager, a runaway with a privileged past, a spy known as the Wraith, a heartrender using her magic to survive the slums, and a thief with a gift for unlikely escapes. And so all these people kind of meet up. I'll go more into detail about each character soon, but they are tasked with this grand task of going all the way to Fëarda, which I was talking about, which opposes the Grisha. They have this person that's making this illegal substance in their ice court, and so Kaz and his team, the Six of Crows, need to go all the way to Fëarda from this island of Ketterdam off of the shore of Ravka, and they have to kind of kidnap this guy, and it's going to get them rich. Like, it's the biggest job that they've ever done. It's like 30 million Kruger, and that is insane because that's going to help them live an insane amount of lives. Like 6 people split up that 30 million, that's like almost 4 to 5 million Kruger per person. So yeah, they're basically going to be rich if they complete this task, and it's a good heist, but we'll talk about what was wrong with it in a second. But yeah, there's also a lot of like lying and deceit also from some of these characters, and there's definitely a lot of plot twists along the way. But that's kind of my brief description about the book. Now I kind of want to dig deeper, so immediately when you start into the book, prologue of basically what I was talking about, this Jurda Param, it's like this drug, and it kind of went wrong. And it was just so unclear that it was a prologue because I was like expecting him to be a very critical person in the book, but we only got one perspective of Juice in the whole book, and then after that there was nothing. It was just the Six of Crows, so I was totally not aware that this character was just a prologue. And so I think sometimes Leigh Bardugo doesn't really inform you a lot. Like, she starts to inform in the latter half when she starts talking about like the exact time when these events are happening, but like I did not know that was a prologue. But then when we actually start into the real story after this kind of really intriguing setting, I was like, oh, this is going to be a great book. Then we got into chapter 1. It went downhill from there. And so basically we are set with Inej's point of view, who is a character known as the Wraith, or the Spy. She's like really sneaky. I personally love her, although her POVs always seem a little bit bland. She's with some of the dregs, which is Kaz, like the main leader guy's like team, his whole gang, and they are meeting her Haskell or something, I can't remember his name, and he also has another gang, and they have this whole like gang fight. Although I thought it was good action and a good way to kind of hook the readers, like, why are we wasting so much time? We only got 400 pages. Leigh Bardugo, sweetie, why are you wasting so much time? Like, what was the purpose of this fight with this rival gang? Because I don't think they had had any information to add to it, although it might have came in later and I might have just not understood it, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll continue on. They basically had this big fight and there was some gun action, but Kaz and his team were eventually the victors. And then we're going into Kaz. He kind of gets like kidnapped, but like in a friendly way because he's getting hired to do this mission, and then he kind of recruits everyone. But to recruit one person, he goes on this like whole rant to find the people. So it's like we took 30 pages just for this like kind of fight scene. Then we took another 20 pages to get some like info dumpy things about the heist and what's the job going on. And then he has to recruit some more characters, so even more page time. It's a lot. And I think, what did I write here? The narration is not even at all, and the disparity of point of views creates a monotonous tone, and I think I do kind of follow this up. I mean, the disparity, it decreases over time because like when the heist is actually happening, it does have to like kind of transfer between point of views a lot, but in the beginning it seemed like it was just switching from Kaz and Inej, and I feel like they were the most bland characters. Like they didn't have much like energy or characterization to them. Like Kaz is just like, oh, I'm all sneaky and I'm like solely all the time, I'm always so negative, and then Inej is like, oh, I'm so negative all the time too, but I am sneaky. You know, like it's just, they weren't like the most fun to follow, and so that's why I kind of commented on that. It was like a monotonous tone. But yeah, now they're going to this prison, and then they have like a like maybe a 25 to 50 page prison break for this character that I don't even think was that like important. They had a whole prison like breakthrough for this Matthias guy, like in this really a high security prison, but I don't really remember why. Like, why is he so critical? Although I do know like he knows a lot of the things about the ice court. I'm just like, was he the best choice? Because I'm sure a lot of other people could tell you, and you know, you could trust them even more than Matthias. Like, there probably are more better people to have in a better memory of the ice court. It just seems to me like Leigh Bardugo was including Matthias in this book for kind of just Nina's arc, and it felt like he wasn't relevant to the actual heist. That's just my opinion, and here's what I wrote. They risked their whole lives on an elaborate jailbreak. Why? Helvar can't be that important or the only Fjerdan that can help. And that's perfect. I worded that perfectly, I think. I also didn't really like how Leigh Bardugo went about like explaining all the characters' past. So basically, let me first explain about kind of Nina and Matthias's path. So if you watch the show, you would know that Nina gets captured one day at this like hotel. She basically gets taken by these Juskels, which are basically these like witch hunters or the Grisha hunters from Fjerda, who come into Ravka and try to like capture the Grisha and take them back to Fjerda. And so basically Matthias was one of these people that were hunting down the Grisha, and they two met, and then like back on the ship to Fjerda, like basically Matthias took Nina and some other Grisha on a ship back to Fjerda. That ship started sinking, but Nina was able to get on this like raft, and she was also able to pull Matthias on there as well. They went back to Fjerda, but they kind of started developing this kind of like romantic relationship, and they started just liking each other, and he was like, oh wow, Grisha aren't actually witches, they're like humans just like us. And so, you know, they had this all like grand time, and that's really all I'm gonna say there, because Leigh Bardugo does want to make it suspicious, so I'm not gonna like spoil anything. But basically there's an event that happens that gets Matthias back in prison. It's really weird. It's a really weird plot, but basically I really like Nina and Matthias's relationship. I like Nina, I don't really like Matthias that much, but that's just my opinion. But it's like, why did Leigh Bardugo have to be so kind of like, you know, mysterious about it, and why 250 pages in are we finally getting the last information we need? Or like I just read like something around page 400 with more information about Kaz. Like, why does Leigh Bardugo wait to get more background almost till the end of the book? It doesn't make much sense. And then we get this big prison break, then they wait, but then there's this weird concept of time where it feels like they were like gonna leave the next day, but like the next chapter they left. I don't really know. AndNej is like, oh, I'm just walking down the street, some people attack me, oh, we gotta go and we just gotta leave now to Fjerda. And then there's this like 50-page boat scene, and I'm just so bored. I wrote this thing, we've been on this boat for 1,000 pages, stop info dumping. And basically like Inej gets harmed on the boat, so we get more information about Inej, Inej as she's like in her coma, and then Kaz is like, oh, I really wish Inej was awake, and then he's kind of talks about her feelings, and then Jesper has a conversation with Wylan to kind of set up their relationship, and it just feels like we were on this boat for so long. And so by the time we set sail and we landed in Fjerda, it's been like 250 pages. I have wasted so much time reading this book. It's been 250 pages and we still haven't even arrived in the heist action, and then they have to hike all the way and they have to trek all the way to the ice court before they even get to the heist. So it's like we're not really even starting the heist till 300 pages in. I was confused by my own annotation, but I'll read you this. Jesper wanted to pace, but he staked out his spot on the bench, and he intended to keep it. It felt like little quakes of anxiety and excitement were vibrating under his skin, and Wylan seated next to him, drumming frenetically on his kneecaps, wasn't helping him settle. He didn't think he could handle much more waiting. First the boat, then all that hiking, and now he was stuck in a cell until the guards came by to make their evening head count. So, I was like, thank you, Jesper, for summing up what this book was. A lot of boat rides, a lot of hiking, you know, a lot of exposition. Like, we aren't really into this ice court until like 300 pages. That's all. And it was painful to read at first, I agree. But then I had a few more annotations that I want to talk about. So, we are 200 pages in and we have only just departed. The exposition is whack. And that's what I agree with. Like, why do we need this initial fight? Why do we need all this fancy prison break nonsense? Why do we need all this fight scene before they left? From page 200 to 300, I was falling asleep so early into the night. It was taking me so long to read this book. Like, it took me almost 3 weeks to read this book because a lot of the exposition, like anything before page 300, I would not be able to read more than 10 pages before I just fell asleep at night because it was just so boring. Like, they could have left around page 50 and then explained more of their exposition and characters, and then they could have gotten to the thing, Ice Court at 150, and had a more elaborate heist, because it feels like Leigh Bardugo had to rush the heist, and that's not what I like, because the heist itself was so confusing when we get there. Oh, I wanted to read a passage for you. Okay, I marked this down. Okay, I found the passage, and it's basically just this really cringy passage. I don't really know. Just let me read it, and then I'll talk about it. Matthias was dreaming again, dreaming of her. In all his dreams, he hunted her, sometimes through the new green meadows of spring, but usually through the ice folds, dodging boulders and crevices with unerring steps. Always he chased, and always he caught her. In the good dreams, he slammed her to the ground and throttled her, watching the life drain from her eyes, heart full of vengeance. Finally, in the bad dreams, he kissed her. In these dreams, she didn't fight him. She laughed, as if the chase was nothing but a game, as if she'd known he would catch her, as if she'd wanted him to, and there was no place she'd rather be than beneath him. She was welcoming and perfect in his arms. He kissed her, buried his face in the sweet hollow of her neck. Her curls brushed his cheeks, and he felt that he could just hold her a little longer. Every wound, every hurt, every bad thing that would melt away. I'm just gonna stop there, but this is what I wrote. I was like, what in God's tarnation is this? It was just so funny to me. Like, that's so cringy. Like, in all the good dreams, like, you're just dreaming and obsessing over, like, chasing someone and hurting them, and then you also kind of love them secretly, too. Like, it just didn't really make a lot of sense to me, and I felt like the enemies to lovers was very direct. Like, he wanted to choke her, and he did choke her when he first woke up and saw Nina, but, like, at the same time, it was just kind of cringy. Like, I don't like the enemies to lovers in this certain scenario, although their relationship was cute, like, later on. And then another thing that I wrote was, where are they and what are they doing? Bardugo is too vague and it's a downfall. And yeah, I agree with that. It just wasn't very clear where they were going initially, and I feel like their journey was just not really well developed by Leigh Bardugo. But when we got to the heist, I kind of had more positive thoughts, and we can get into that right now. But basically, more Nina love on this page. I really like Nina. She's my favorite character, and why I kind of stayed. I also really like Jesper too, but he kind of had some more like dull scenes as well. And also started to pick up when Nina and Matthias started to kind of have some thoughts that differed from Kaz's and the others' thoughts. Like, Nina and Matthias kind of ventured off. They were like, had a little side conversation. They started thinking of some other ways, and the deceit kind of started settling in, and the betrayal and the backstabbing, and we really enjoyed that. And then I'm not going to go really into more specifics from here on out because you're going to just have to read the book, but we did get into the heist, and I thought that was interesting. Seeing the plan in action makes me more eager to continue on. Yep. When the first plan started, I was so intrigued, but then it kind of let me down again, so. But it felt at the same time very long and very rushed. Like, it felt like this heist was over like 150 pages, but it also felt like she could have gone into more detail on it. Like, the heist was really only a couple hours, to be honest, but it seemed like it was kind of rushed because we could have gotten more perspectives, more details. It just felt like it was kind of cutting to like very specific small scenes when we could have pieced together a higher, you know, soul. But like I will say it was very clever. Some of the plot twists or like some of the ways that they kind of escaped a certain situation or they got into a certain section, like it wasn't like that original or it just kind of felt cliche, but most of it was kind of original and I really enjoyed it. It did feel repetitive in that it felt like they kept getting captured and they kept getting escaping and they kept kind of doing all these different things and then they kept splitting up and coming back together, and it just, you know, I don't know. Overall, I think that Leigh Bardugo's writing is just not my favorite. I think I explained this in the beginning, but from a general standpoint, I don't think Leigh Bardugo captivates me as like a lot. Even debut authors, I feel like, captivate me more. Like, I just think that a lot of Leigh Bardugo's writing is very, like, tell, not show. Like, she tells so much when it's kind of like we could make more things from inferences. I wish we kind of got more story. I feel as like Leigh Bardugo's writing is always so stretched out. Like, it just feels like I'm reading this really long thing, and I feel like this is what got me into the kind of reading slump that I am in today, because realistically, y'all, it is Thursday, May 18th, and this is the only book that I've read this month. Like, I just don't see the hype. I don't see the hype, and I want to know what exactly makes people love this. Like, if you do enjoy this book, like, please comment down below, because I'm really interested to see what your opinion is. I can't see it. I can't see what's happening. And maybe the second book is worth more, but I think that the way Leigh Bardugo kind of romanticizes, like, unhealthy relationships and even any of the romance, honestly, is just not that great. I like the Shadow and Bone books more, honestly. I'll just say that. Real, straight up honest. A lot of people are like, the Shadow and Bone books are so overrated, or like they're so boring, but this was so boring to me. And maybe I'm just like a whack person, but I just did not enjoy this book that much. Like, the way it was sequenced, the POVs, I couldn't follow it. It was just not great. So that's my honest opinion. I feel like I wasted a lot of time this month because of this book, and that's why this book would get I don't know, it's like probably the worst book that I read this year, to be completely honest. Like, it was just not good. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I finally needed to make a video, like, why Six of Crows is underrated, because I've never seen a negative review about it, and I had such high expectations because of all the things I've seen, but it just did not come up to my expectations. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe down below for more bookish content. Just know that I will be having a different upload schedule this summer due to some new projects, and I'll make a video titled, like, new projects, ... so I can tell you kind of what's going on when I'm allowed to. But thank you so much. Hope you guys have a great day. Make sure to comment down below your thoughts on Six of Crows and how much you enjoyed my review. Should I do more like single book reviews? So you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next Wednesday next week. Bye!